Maharaj, in his Pravachans, often highlights a very subtle truth. Our happiness should not depend on circumstances, objects, or people, but should flow directly from God Himself. Whenever Maharaj reminds us that joy is our natural state and not something to be chased outside, it strikes deep within. Today's reflection beautifully resonates with that teaching. True happiness is independent of cause. There is evidently a joy in being alive. How then is it that we suffer misery? The reason is that we become oblivious to the true objective of human life. We want things in order to make us happy, but instead of remaining the means, they become the goal in life. All things in the world are perishable, impermanent, and therefore illusory. The gladness they bring is consequently fleeting, momentary. That everyone desires joyfulness is a clear indication that unification with God is a universal need, for God is the fountainhead and the storehouse of joy. We have contracted a habit of extracting joy from something, that is to say, keeping our joy dependent on something or other. Every person hankers for joy, but we seek to get it through the medium of prapancha, that is, through a medium fraught with misery. We should therefore learn to extract joy which exists by itself, not because of something else. Joy which comes because of something must necessarily be short-lived, because that something is itself short-lived. In order to acquire supreme causeless beatitude, one should practice to sit quiet, silent, actionless for a while. This kind of purposelessness is really a very high achievement, far superior to being active. It is indeed far more difficult than action, for it signifies total unison with the cosmic spirit, complete annihilation of the pride of doership. If you keenly yearn to be happy, then learn to be happy under all circumstances. If a desired thing does come about, you may feel contented, but not rapturous. Conversely, suppose there is someone who delights in vexing us. Our reaction should not be one of annoyance. Our joy should continue unbroken. To be doing our duty happily, unexpectedly, in the awareness of God, is the hallmark of a fruitful human life. Trust not people who try to dislodge your faith in Nama. Listen not to sterile philosophy. Every repetition of Nama is a reminder of God, so consider Nama as the be-all and end-all of life. The omnipotence of Nama will become apparent only to those who repeat it ceaselessly. Pilgrimages to holy places or to saints are not for acquiring material ends, but for acquiring undisturbable satisfaction, and Namasmarana is the infallible means to it. The life of Kungiliya Nayanar perfectly illustrates this truth that happiness is not dependent on cause, but flows from the depth of devotion. He lost all his wealth and became a poor man. Yet, despite his poverty, his heart was rich with devotion for Lord Shiva. Once, when the temple in Tiruvarur was facing difficulty, Kungiliya offered even the last possession he had, his wife's sacred thali or Mangal Sutra, for the service of the Lord. Imagine the situation. For most people, such poverty would bring misery and restlessness. But for him, giving away the most precious possession was not sorrow but supreme joy, because it was done for Shiva. He did not depend on wealth, status, or worldly security for his happiness. His only source of joy was his Lord. Pleased by his steadfast devotion, Lord Shiva not only restored all that he had given, but also blessed him with everlasting bliss. This incident shows that when our happiness is tied to worldly objects, it always fluctuates. But when it rests on God, as in the case of Kungiliya Nayanar, it becomes independent of cause, unshakable, eternal, and liberating. Maharaj reminds us in his Pravachans again and again, real joy is within us, and it is discovered when we anchor ourselves in God, not in changing circumstances. The life of Kungiliya Nayanar teaches us that even in poverty or loss, when the heart is fixed on God, joy flows unbroken. Let us take this message into our lives. Stop making happiness dependent on if this happens, then I'll be happy. Instead, through Namasmarana, surrender and service, let us experience the bliss that is causeless, eternal, and ever-present.